Hello, Year Nines. Just thought I'd do something a bit different this week. Thought that I would talk through the PowerPoint with you so that it makes it a bit easier for you to use that to fill in your booklet. And also, you got a little picture of me in the corner to almost like we're in class all over again. So this week you've got two lessons, lesson 6 and 7, which is impacts of deforestation in Brazil on page 36, through to value of the tropical rainforest, which finishes on page 48. Okay, and you've got 2 weeks to complete those two sections in the booklet. So this is lesson 6, and it's looking at impacts of deforestation in Brazil. And the first thing I want you to do is a little recap. So on the very back page of your booklet, can you do a 3-2-1 task? So I want you to remember and write down 3 causes of deforestation, 2 products that use rainforest materials. So what things that we might use in the UK that use material from the rainforest, and 1 country where deforestation is taking place. So on the very back page of your booklet, have a go at doing those, and then you can check your answers by looking back in your booklet. Okay, and then moving on to the booklet itself. So as I said today, looking at impacts of deforestation in Brazil, and that's thinking about social, economic, and environmental impacts. And you can see we're going to look for global and local impacts, positive and negative impacts, and also finish by looking at how deforestation might or might not benefit people who live in the rainforests. So that might be indigenous tribes, or it might just be Brazilians who live near or in the rainforest. Now, so first thing I want you to do in the booklet is, can you look at the picture on page 36? You can see there's a dam has been built in the rainforest with a large reservoir of water behind it. And I want you to use the picture and try and describe 2 different environmental impacts that that dam would have caused. Now, they could be positive or they could be negative. Okay, so when it says describe, obviously that means name it and say what they are. So that's page 36. Once you've completed that, I want you to have a look at these 2 clips. So watch the first clip, it's on YouTube, and just think about what that's showing you, and then watch the second clip again on YouTube. And this is Bruce Parry on a program he made a few years ago called Tribe. And when you're watching that one, I want you to answer these questions down the very side of page 37. You'll see there's a margin there, so try and answer the questions 1, 2 and 3 based on what you've watched in those clips. And you'll see that those clips basically talk about deforestation as being a negative thing, but deforestation can also have positive impacts. And that's what we're going to think about next. So I want you to read pages 37, 38 and 39. And you would need to add a key because you're going to be doing some highlighting. And in the first 3 paragraphs, I want you to look for and highlight the local impacts, things that would affect the nearby rainforest only, or the rainforest in Brazil only, and highlight them in 1 colour. And then look for the global impacts of deforestation, so the things that would have an impact all around the world. So try and look through in the first 3 paragraphs, look for local impacts and highlight in 1 colour, and the global impacts and highlight in another colour. Then the second part is, I want you to then, in the last paragraph, which will be on page 39, I want you to highlight the economic positives and the economic negatives. And remember, the economy is anything to do with money or jobs. So in that last paragraph, if it says that cutting down rainforest provides jobs for local people, then that's obviously an economic positive. If it says that long term it could damage the tourism industry in Brazil, that would be an economic negative. Okay, so 4 different colors. Use a key and use your highlighters for pages 37, 38 and 39. Once you've done that, you'll see there's a table on page 38, and you're going to use your highlighting of the short-term economic gains and the long-term economic losses that you did to fill in that table. Okay, so try and decide which goes into which column. So which one side's benefits, one side's negatives. And then the final question on that page is to think, what are the local impacts of climate change in Brazil? Okay, so watch the clip, think about the water cycle, and if you need, reread the last bit of the first paragraph on page 37, which will focus on this particular question. Okay. Right. And then finally, the last bit of this lesson is to have a go at a 9-mark question, which is on page 40. Now, you've done 9-mark questions before, so you know how you structure them and what they're about. Now, this one is an assess the extent question, which means you are weighing up two sides of an argument. Okay, and it's saying, so for a tropical rainforest you have studied, so i.e. Brazil, assess the extent to which deforestation benefits the people who live there. So does deforestation have a positive impact and benefit the people who live there by maybe providing them with jobs, or does it have a negative impact by damaging their way of life or the environment they live in? And obviously the reality is the answer is going to be somewhere in between, but you've got to put both sides of the argument across. So attached to class charts, I have included a structure strip which you've used before, so you can use that to help you answer this question. On the next page, next slide, sorry, you can see I've got the question there, and I've also put a to what extent arrow. So you're thinking about where, after you've discussed the evidence, where do you sit? To what extent is it benefiting local people or not? So the disadvantages you might talk about would be things, sorry, the advantages first, things like economic gains. You know, people will get money from selling cattle, from selling products, timber, but there's soil erosion and local climate change. There will be jobs provided by the mining industry, but it would destroy the resources that the country depends on, the local people depend on. And then finally, obviously, companies will employ people and provide lots of jobs, but in the long term, deforestation can lead to a decline in tourism or decline in rainforest products. Okay, so as you can see, you've got pros and cons. And how you would write this is you would try and write 3 P paragraphs using our rules that we've done before. So make a point, back it up with some evidence, some figures, like how many jobs would it create, and then explain why this is a benefit, and then talk about the other side of the argument, a negative. And then finally, once you've done your 3 P paragraphs, you would have a conclusion linking back to the question saying, to what extent do you think that deforestation does benefit people who live there? And I've just, on the next slide, a reminder of how we do the P paragraph, or Peel paragraph if you link it back. So once you've completed the work there, obviously you could, if you're doing it on the computer, you can email me, or you can take a photograph of the pages and attach them to an email and send them through to me. So I want everyone to have a go at those questions, and everyone to have a go at the 9 marker, and then I will have a look at it and I'll be able to give you some feedback. Okay, so that's lesson 6. Good luck with that, and I will do the same thing with lesson 7, so keep an eye out for that. See you later, guys. Bye.